Bay win the NFC South.
What's good, everybody? Let's talk some Tampa sports. The Bucs have a chance and opportunity at a 3-game win streak this Sunday. If they do complete that, a 3-game win streak will be their longest win streak of the season, and they're gonna need to be streaking, stacking, rallying this whole remainder of the season. It continues on Sunday. As you see down below, if you're going to the game at Ray J, please wear red. The Buccaneers have announced this will be a red out against the, almost at Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders. I know I'm going to be wearing my red Baker Mayfield jersey, so whatever you got in your closet if you're going to that game, hey, make sure it's that red, that rojo. I feel like when you look at bad NFL teams, you can kind of split them into two groups. There's the group where, there's some locker room antics going on, their coach has been fired or the team is giving up on the coach, kind of mailing it in. And then there's the teams that have some strong leaders within their team. Coach is holding the locker room together. They just don't have the talent overall to be a successful team in the NFL. You look at the Giants, I think they fall in that first category I just talked about. The Panthers, I think they fall in the second category. And the Raiders, I think, also fall in that second category. I think the head coach for the Raiders, Antonio Pierce, is a guy, good leader, players like him, and they want to continue to fight for him despite the record. And that's always, in the NFL, every team has NFL talent. It's dangerous. I think it is more of a talent issue for this team. In today's NFL, you need a good quarterback to be successful, and they just do not have that. Flipping back and forth between Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell. Desmond Ridder played for a little bit. Aiden O'Connell, it's not very many good options. I will say Aiden O'Connell did have the best game of his career last week against the Kansas City Chiefs on Black Friday. So he's coming off of that momentum. Is he a quarterback that I'm scared of coming off that momentum? I wouldn't say I'm scared of him. Maybe one player in particular that he'll be throwing the ball to. But him, not really. The skill positions on the Raiders offense aren't great. You look at the top two guys from last season, Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. No longer with the team. Adams with the Jets, obviously. Josh Jacobs on the Packers, who are getting ready to play. I'm trying to, get this video in so I can turn that on and enjoy my night. And that leaves the team with players who are more of running back twos and wide receiver twos, having to play running back 1 and wide receiver 1 roles. I think Jakobi Meyers is a solid, very solid wide receiver 2. But wide receiver 1, I just don't think that is his game. Zamir White, Alexander Madison, Amir Abdullah, those are not the guys I want leading my backfield. I do like their rookie, though. McCormick, I think he went to UTSA. I remember the name. You see rocking the USF. They play in the same conference, so the name sounds familiar, and I like what I saw from him. University of Texas San Antonio, I knew it. My AAC knowledge is coming up clutch right now. Anyways, behind Jakobi Meyers is Trey Tucker, a second-year guy who is improving, can end up being a good wide receiver in the NFL. He is still a young guy, though. We'll see how he continues to shape into his prime. So yeah, not much at receiver, not much at running back, but they do have what I believe to be a generational tight end. A Gronk, a Kelsey, a Brock Bowers. I truly believe he is that good and will continue to be that good. I mean, he's doing this with Minshew and O'Connell too, when you think about that. Gronk had Brady. Kelsey has Mahomes, obviously. It's impressive what this guy's doing right now. As a rookie. Tight ends coming into the NFL as rookies. It is rare they put up really good seasons. And he's killing it right now. Obviously, with him being that good, causes problems for the Buccaneers, who have struggled mightily guarding tight ends this season. I mean, we saw Tommy Tremble have a pretty solid game against us last week for the Carolina Panthers. Imagine what a Brock Bowers could do if they do get their offense to start clicking against this Buccaneers defense. KJ Britt, as much as we don't love how he's played so far this season, JJ Russell has probably looked even worse behind him. So KJ Britt dealing with that ankle injury, that's an injury that we got to continue to monitor up to game time. Tyke Smith, same thing. Would really love to have Tyke Smith, given that he's the only guy on the team that has experience playing against Brock Bowers, both of them playing for the Georgia Bulldogs, so that would be a very big deal as well. Tyke Smith obviously has been fantastic as a rookie, so not even covering Brock Bowers, but just the presence he has brought to this defense, the turnover-making ability. He's forced 3 fumbles, has an interception. He's needed back on this defense. Before we move on to the defense, let's take a look at the stats. What are they saying on paper for the Oakland Raiders on offense? Right now, we're looking at the top passing teams in the NFL. You got your teams, the Bengals, the Ravens. Bucs are down here. The Raiders are about middle of the pack, which honestly, with the weapons that they're working with, is not bad at all. But I feel like it kind of is inflated because their run game is that bad. They are the worst in the NFL with a 3.7 yards per carry, not good at all. So it's kind of like Brady's last season with the Bucs. Their run game was so bad, Brady was just throwing the ball so much every game. You're going to end up having high passing numbers. Another thing to note about this Raiders team is their difficulty creating turnovers and preventing themselves from turning the ball over. Their turnover differential is at a minus 18, last in the NFL by a pretty wide margin. Next is the Titans at minus 13, then the Jaguars at minus 9, and then it kind of just creeps up from there all the way up to the Bills at the top. Minus 18. It is key. It is crucial. The Bucs must win the turnover battle this game. I mean, all season the Raiders have been losing that turnover battle, and it leads to a 2-10 record. You turn the ball over, you're going to lose games. You lose the turnover battle, you're going to lose games. You're giving up possessions every time you turn the ball over. You steal possessions when you force the other team to turn the ball over. They're not doing what they need to do in that aspect, and that results in losses, and that leads to 2-10. So the Bucs need to continue that trend. Continue with the turnovers by the Oakland Raiders, and do not play sloppy. Do not let them create turnovers against the Bucs offense, which I am more comfortable with going into this game. Baker had a rough game last week, but we've seen Baker bounce back. This isn't the same Baker from his first 3 years. He'll have multiple rough games in a row where he's turning the ball over. Since he's been in Tampa, he'll have a bad game, but he'll bounce back and get back on track. He usually snaps out of it real quick and is able to continue with the season. And you look what he's done this year, he's up there. He's up there. Like I just showed you guys, the Bucs, I think, were 7th in passing attack. So he's doing a good job. On the Raiders defense, they have one of the most impactful players in the entire NFL. And I mean that when I say that. Not just most impactful players defensively or most impactful defensive linemen in the NFL. Most impactful player in the NFL. And of course, talking about Maxx Crosby. What he brings to a defense, it is terrifying for any offense. Can single-handedly ruin offensive drives, ruin game plans by beating double teams. Tackles for loss, I think he's had the most tackles for loss the last 3 seasons in a row. Crazy. Sacks, creating holding calls, like everything that you want a defensive lineman to do, he does it. And then the fact of he is a trash talker and he aims to get in the opposing team's head. That'll be a factor in this game. It 100% will be a factor with how competitive Baker Mayfield is. You know he's going to spit it right back at him. And, just hoping that he keeps it. Sure, give it back to him. That's your game. You don't want to take Baker out of Baker, but you don't want him to get too amped up as well. Start making mistakes, trying to do too much. Stay within yourself, be Baker, and we'll be just fine. The best trash talk there is being able to, once that final whistle blows, point up to the Jumbotron and be like, look at the scoreboard. Bucs have more points than the Raiders. case closed. I'd say the Raiders defense, though, is solid. They're pretty middle of the pack. They're not like the Panthers, who we just played last week, who have the worst ranked rushing defense in the NFL. They're pretty middle of the pack. Same with the passing. The Panthers were, I think, 28th or something like that in passing defense. Baker didn't have his best game. Raiders are middle of the pack. So it's not going to be just this walk in the park on offense. If there was a game that was going to be a walk in the park offensively, you would have thought it would have been last week against the Panthers, given how bad their defense ranks in pretty much every stat. But the game is played on the field, not in the stats. We'll see how this plays out. I do like the Bucs matchup. I don't think any team can be successful being minus 18 in the turnover margin, and I think that's where this game lies. The Bucs have been pretty good not turning the ball over. Getting turnovers, I don't think they've been all that great, but not turning the ball over has been key for this offense and has allowed them to be a top 5 offense in the entire NFL. So like I said, the Bucs need to continue this trend of the Raiders being bad in the turnover margin, and I think they will. I think Baker's going to have a bounce-back game. After last week, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, didn't look all that great, couldn't build any momentum until the final minutes of the game. The Raiders, I'm not confident in their offense. I know Aiden O'Connell did have a pretty good game last week. We'll see if it can carry over. We haven't seen this guy have a stretch of good games in his entire NFL career, so that is TBD. I'd love to see this defense force at least two turnovers in this game, maybe get a pick, maybe get an interception. It's been real quiet on the interception front for sure lately, so Zion, get you another. Antoine, we haven't seen one from him this year. If Tyke Smith returns, get you another one. So hoping we can finally get an interception on this defense. It's been a little bit. With that, I think the Buccaneers are the more talented team. There's no denying that. Raiders have one of the best players in the NFL, but overall, you got a Mike Evans, you got a Bucky Irving, you got a Rashad White. To guard that best player, you got a Tristan Wirfs, so there's a lot the Bucs can do. So I think with that, Liam Cohen cooking up a nice game plan to limit Maxx Crosby, I think they'll be able to score in this game. I'm going to say 28 points. Defensively, I don't think those skill positions are enough, so hopefully the defense will be able to key in on Brock Bowers alone, and, he'll get his. I don't think there's any way this Bucs defense shuts down Brock Bowers. I don't think that will happen. But hopefully it's just limited. So I'm going to say 28-20 final score in the Redout game. Raymond James this Sunday. Hope to see all y'all out there wearing red. That's going to be it for me. Leave your comments, your score predictions down below. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. Go Bucs. Y'all have a blessed one.